as I was saying, those funny Cub Scout twins became almost as famous as yours truly. And then along came Dink and Duff and Weeblos Woody.
Now, wait a minute. You're not gonna say that you helped create them too, are you?
Well, I don't like to brag, but it was in 1984, and the editors were talking to Mr. Tom Eaton about some new characters. I knew these two funny Cub Scouts and this really wacky Weeblo Scout who had a smart parrot. These kids kind of admired me, so when I told them how I became a comic character, they showed up one day on Mr. Eaton's drawing board.
Just like that?
Well, sort of. Mr. Eaton remembers that he thought a long time about it, and he made up two Cub Scouts. Dink was the thoughtful, organized one, and Duff was always rushing around without much thought and getting in trouble. You know the kind of guy, good-hearted, well-meaning, but sometimes too sure of himself for his own good.
Do we ever?
Shh! Don't wake up the Melboro, remember?
Sorry.
But anyway, as I was saying, those two guys are exactly like the two kids I know.
And Woody?
Same story. The Weeblo Scout looks up to me being older and with so much experience as a comic page hero. I expect he went to see Mr. Eaton to get into the comics in imitation of me.
And what does Tom Eaton have to say?
Oh, he says he wanted to make a character who was kind of off the wall. A guy who would invent really crazy stunts in games and think up wild inventions while he followed the Weeblo Scout program.
Then you think Dink and Duff and Weeblos Woody broke into the comics because they admired you and wanted to imitate you?
Well, I don't like to brag.
Anyway, how about your new look that started in the November 1997 issue?
Oh, the new look was a lot of work for me.
Work for you? How about Mike Adair, the artist who did all the drawing?
Are you kidding? Do you know how much work it is to train a new artist? Now, don't get me wrong, Mr. Mike Adair is a very good artist, but I had to train him to work in comic page style. For a while, we had to go out and get people kind of like you to write the scripts.
What do you mean, people kind of like me?
You know, just plain old writers, guys who can't draw.
Oh yes, I guess I know the type.
But Mr. Adair was a fast learner. After he learned to draw the kind of pictures I wanted, it was easy for him to do the stories too.
Easy?
Sure. He already knew the alphabet. After that, he just needed to put the words in the right order, and there it was. Story and pictures. My page. Did you know that when the editors gave him the job of drawing me, he said he felt like he had been, quote, entrusted with the Washington Monument of Boys' Life, unquote?
That is hard to believe. Pee Wee Harris, the George Washington of comics? Just as George Washington was the father of our country, you were the father of Boys' Life comics?
I never looked at it that way before, but I inspired the whole Boys' Life comics section. Who could have imagined it? Who would have believed that just one young scout started out in 1920 as a humble story character would one day become the inspiration who would someday change the face of Boys' Life magazine? Hey, where are you going? I'm just getting started. I got lots more to tell you.
Thanks a lot, Pee Wee, but we'll just save that for another anniversary.